All right, so we're diving into this mountain of info on becoming a biology lecturer, huh?
Yep, that's the plan.
I've got to say, it's pretty exciting stuff, right? Getting to share your love for biology, shape young minds.
It definitely has a certain appeal, yeah.
But I have a feeling there's more to it than meets the eye. At least that's what I'm getting from this RoleCatcher guide.
Oh, you're absolutely right. It doesn't sugarcoat things, that's for sure.
Like what kind of things stood out to you?
Well, one of the first things that really jumped out at me was just how competitive it is. Like, really competitive. To land a secure position, I mean.
Really? How
Yeah.
competitive are we talking?
Well, according to RoleCatcher, only about 20% of PhD graduates in the biological sciences actually end up securing tenure-track positions at universities.
Wow, 20%. Okay, so yeah, you'd really have to stand out. I did see that the guide mentioned publications and collaborations as being important.
Yeah, they're really important. It's all about building a strong research portfolio. You need to be able to show your contributions to the field.
So it's not enough to just be a great teacher.
It's more than that, yeah. Think of it like this. As a biology lecturer, you're not just a teacher, you're a researcher. You're constantly pushing the boundaries of what we know about science.
So you got to have your own research going on too.
Exactly, and having that work published in reputable journals, that's key. Collaborating with other researchers, that also shows that you're a team player, which is important in the academic world.
It really is like a whole other side to the job, isn't it? It's not just lecturing, it's conducting research, publishing, collaborating. So where does the actual teaching part fit in?
That's the exciting part. You get to bring all that real-world experience into the classroom.
Ah,
Instead of just teaching straight from a textbook, you're explaining a complex concepts based on your own firsthand knowledge and discoveries.
okay, yeah, now I can see what you mean about the appeal. But one thing I am noticing is this phrase, heavy workload, which seems to be popping up a lot in this RoleCatcher guide. They mention long hours prepping for lectures, grading papers, keeping up with all the latest research. It just makes me wonder, how do people in this field manage to find a work-life balance?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah,
And it's something that a lot of aspiring academics really grapple with.
I can imagine.
Because the academic grind, it's real. You're talking late nights in the lab, weekends spent grading papers. It's not unusual.
So what's the solution?
Well, RoleCatcher actually emphasizes the importance of setting boundaries early on. Passion is often what fuels people in this kind of profession. But finding that balance is crucial to avoid burnout.
That makes a lot of sense. It's interesting, you've already touched on a few things that I wouldn't have necessarily thought about before, like that importance of having your own research, being able to bring those experiences into the classroom. It makes me wonder, what are some of the other skills that might not be obvious when you're thinking about becoming a biology lecturer?
One that often gets overlooked is communication.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not just dealing with data and experiments, right?
Yeah.
You have to be able to explain complex scientific concepts to students from all different backgrounds.
It's true.
And some of them may not be science whizzes.
So it's about being able to break things down in a way that's engaging and easy to understand.
Exactly.
Maybe even make it fun.
For sure. And that's something that RoleCatcher actually mentioned their AI platform can help with.
Oh, yeah. Their AI can help with that. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, actually. So RoleCatcher's AI platform can analyze job descriptions.
Okay, so like what kinds of things is it looking for?
Well, it can identify the specific skills that are most important for a given role. So for a biology lecturer, communication is always going to be up there.
Right. Makes sense.
But there are other skills too, like
Yeah.
adaptability, critical thinking, things like that.
So it's not even just about being a good communicator or even just knowing your stuff, really. You have to be able to connect with students on their level.
Yeah, and explain things clearly, be able to adapt to different learning styles. Those things are important too.
It's interesting. You don't often hear about those kinds of softer skills being important in a scientific field.
Yeah.
You think about scientists, you think about like hardcore data and experiments.
Yeah, but it's becoming more and more important in academia these days, definitely.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's because students are just different now than they used to be. They learn differently.
In what
They
way?
crave more interactive experiences.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and RoleCatcher actually talks about how universities are looking for lecturers who can create those kinds of learning environments,
Yeah.
engaging and inclusive.
So it's not just about standing up there and lecturing at them. You have to actually be able to connect with them.
Exactly.
Interesting. One thing that struck me as we've been going through this is that a biology lecturer's job is as much about their own learning as it is about teaching others.
Oh, 100%.
RoleCatcher actually really emphasizes that importance of staying updated with all the latest research and advancements. It's like you really do need to be a lifelong learner in this field, constantly on the cutting edge of new discovery.
Absolutely. Biology is constantly evolving. New stuff is being discovered all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be so exciting to be a part of.
Oh, it is. I mean, can you imagine? Like, you get to teach your students about some groundbreaking new discovery that was just published,
Right.
like, weeks ago.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Right. That's the kind of excitement you can bring to the classroom when you're really on top of your game.
I would have paid way more attention to my biology classes if my teacher hadn't talking about brand new stuff like that.
Right.
But it's a little overwhelming, isn't it? Like, with so much new information coming out all the time, how do you even begin to stay current?
Well, RoleCatcher had a few ideas about that.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Attending conferences is a big one. Subscribing to scientific journals.
Okay, so keeping up with the literature.
Mm-hmm. Even just engaging in online forums and discussions with other professionals in your field.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It's really about becoming a part of that larger scientific community.
So it's not even just about, like, reading the latest research papers, right? It's about actively engaging in those conversations and debates that are happening.
Exactly. Sharing your own findings, learning from others in the field.
Bouncing ideas off each other.
Yes, it's about being a part of something bigger than yourself. Contributing to this, like, collective pursuit of knowledge.
I love that. And that's something you can start doing right now, even before you, like, step foot in a lecture hall.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're interested in becoming a biology lecturer, I mean.
Yeah, there are online forums and communities for, like, just about every area of biology you can imagine.
I bet. Like, if you're into marine biology, for example.
Oh, for sure. You could find groups discussing the latest research on coral reef conservation, deep sea exploration.
Wow. Okay, so you really can start exploring those interests right away. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that actually ties into another point that RoleCatcher makes about finding your niche.
Oh, tell me more about that.
They argue that the most successful biology lecturers are the ones who are, like, passionately curious about a specific area within the broader field.
Okay, so it's not enough to just love biology in general.
Yeah.
You have to find that one thing that you're, like, obsessed with.
Pretty much. And that makes a lot of sense when you think about it. I mean, if you have all that deep knowledge and enthusiasm for a specific subject, you're going to be a much more engaging and effective teacher.
Oh, for sure. But biology is such a huge airfield. I mean, where do you even begin to narrow it down? Like, how do you find that one niche that really speaks to you?
Right. It can feel overwhelming.
It really is. I mean, biology is huge, E. It's everything from, like, microscopic cells to entire ecosystems, you know? So where do you begin?
Well, RoleCatcher suggests thinking back to your own experiences.
Okay.
Like, what sparked your initial interest in biology?
Interesting.
Was it a specific book you read, maybe, or a documentary you watched, a field trip you took back in school?
Oh, okay.
Those early experiences, they can often hold the clue to what really fascinates you.
So it's like those core memories, those things you were really drawn to as a kid,
Exactly.
could hold the key to your future career.
It's totally possible.
So maybe you were that kid who spent hours collecting insects in the backyard, or you were obsessed with watching, like, shark documentaries.
Right.
That could be your starting point.
Exactly. And then as you go through your studies, you can start exploring those interests more deeply.
So, like, how would you do that?
Well, for example, you could take some elective courses that pique your interest, or volunteer in a research lab that's doing work you find really interesting.
Okay, so find opportunities to get some hands-on experience.
Yeah. Or even just attend seminars and workshops on topics that excite you.
Just immerse yourself in it.
Exactly.
It's almost like being a detective, you know? Following these little breadcrumbs of curiosity until you stumble upon that one question, that one mystery that you just have to solve.
I love that analogy.
And that's your niche.
Exactly. And that passion, that drive to uncover the unknown, that's what's going to set you apart as a biology lecturer.
Because it's contagious, right?
It is. It's going to fuel your research, inspire your teaching, and ultimately it's going to make a lasting impact on your students, on the field of biology.
Wow. So it's really about, like, finding that sweet spot where your passion intersects with what the scientific community needs, but also your desire to share that passion with others.
Exactly.
It's pretty powerful stuff. Now, we've talked about finding your niche, but even if you have that clear passion, breaking into academia, I mean, RoleCatcher didn't sugarcoat it. It can be really daunting.
It definitely can be.
So what are some things that they suggest focusing on to navigate that journey?
Networking.
Networking.
Yeah, it's crucial. They actually have a whole section in here dedicated to it.
Really?
It's all about building relationships with professors, researchers, other professionals in your field.
So how do you do that? Like, are we talking about like conferences and stuff?
Practices are great, yeah.
Yeah.
But also joining relevant organizations, just
Wait.
putting yourself out there.
It's interesting. You always hear about networking in a more corporate setting, but I guess it makes sense that it would be really important in the academic world, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, those connections can really open doors for you.
Yeah, I can see that.
Research opportunities, collaborations, even future job prospects, all of that.
It's all about who you know, right?
It helps. But it's also about building a community, like
Yeah.
a support system.
And finding mentors.
Exactly.
So it's a good reminder that, even though it can feel really competitive, the academic world,
Yeah.
it's also about collaboration and mutual support. It's not just about like being brilliant in a lab or being a captivating lecturer, but you also have to be able to like connect with people, share your ideas, and be open to learning from others.
That's a great way to put it.
It's really cool.
And it's something I always tell people, don't be afraid to reach out. Ask questions, seek guidance. Most academics are really passionate about their work and more than happy to share their experiences and insights.
That's good to know. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into the world of becoming a biology lecturer, is there one key takeaway, one golden nugget of wisdom that you would want our listeners to walk away with today?
I think if you're really passionate about biology and eager to share that passion with others, don't let the challenges deter you. Follow your curiosity, find your niche, and never stop learning and growing.
It's a journey.
It is. But it's an incredibly rewarding one.
I love that. Embrace the challenges, find your tribe, and let your passion for biology light the way. That's it for our deep dive into the fascinating world of becoming a biology lecturer. Thanks for listening, everybody.